live.
Hi guys, we're with you on YouTube this week. I hope everybody came to the right place or is coming to the right place. And I hope we get a good turnout because tonight I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects in the whole wide world, which is responsible repurposing. And some have been in the class before when I've taught. I haven't taught it for almost 2 years now. And we had a good time in there. We did a lot of cool stuff. But I want to do that cool stuff with you guys again. Only this time I want to do it by video. Now I'm not going to be, doing the class tonight, but I'm going to give you a little glimpse of, what we might be, looking at, what the class might be like. Because we're going to do 2 days in video of the class, so that we're going to get, the basics of the class all in video. So it'll be nice because I'll be able to show you stuff. There's Colleen, there's Lori. Glad to have some here. Here's Maria. Maria loved that class. Lisa Lawler's here. Oh, wow, I'm glad to see some people showing up. Yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what, it might be like in the video of the class. And when I see if a few more comes in here before I just start rattling on, I did print out all the modules. I have to rewrite them. I can see that right now. That's the one thing about writing the book. I know more about what good writing is, and I went back and I looked at this. I've always said, don't worry about it. I write the way I speak, the way I talk. Well, that's not so good because I'm all over the place when I talk. And so the writing needs to be tightened up a good bit and certain things taken out because they don't pertain to the class now, the way we're going to do it. And so, but I can give you a pretty good, idea what we'll be talking about too. Oh, there's Colleen. She can't wait to do the class again with videos. Yeah, it's going to be so much better. Hi, Kim. We tried. Hey, Rose. We tried the last time I did this to do a video, but we didn't know as much about doing it, and we didn't have good light, and then it was hard to hear me. I was just a total failure. So, I just thought, well, really to do this class right, video is the ticket. Video is the way to go, so everybody can see. Hi, everybody. Hey, there's Pat Jones. Buddy's here with us. Pat Counts is here. Noise here. That's great. So anyway, basically, let's just talk first for a minute about, there's going to be a lot of lecture here, but I do have examples to show you, so you're not going to be just looking at my hands the whole time. I printed these out, and I looked at the writing. I'm like, no, these have to be rewritten. There's going to be a lot of work to getting this pulled together this time. But anyway, the class is going to be 2 full days of video. It'll be morning session and afternoon session. I think we'll skip the evening session because this is winter now, and we don't have good light after a certain time, and it's better for us to have good light. This is evening, of course, for us, and we have, you wouldn't believe how much light we have in here pointed at this, and it's still kind of dark.
It is?
Yeah, a little bit. Not bad. I'd just like it to be a little better than this, so, we're not going to do it at night. Does it matter, Javi, if that overhead is on or not? Okay, I'm just seeing reflections there, not. Okay. So it's going to be 2 full days of video. It's going to be a Friday and a Saturday. And I think I didn't write down the dates. I'll put it down for you later. I think it's January 21 and 22 or 22 and 23. I'll have to look at the calendar again. I forgot to write it down. But it's that weekend anyway, so you can plan for that. It'll be that weekend. Now, I know some do work during Friday and they can't be here in live time, but this is all going to be viewable again. You're going to be able to come right back in later on and watch what we did. And if you have questions, you'll be able to ask them in the classroom, because the way we're going to do it is we're going to have all the videos going to be done at YouTube, because Facebook has been kind of iffy lately. We've had some problems with Lauren's videos and stuff, and there should be no reason for that. We have all the good equipment on. She has it set properly. We have very strong Wi-Fi out there. There's no reason why that should be doing that, except that Facebook videos just aren't that good. They're kind of grainy, and I want to show you stuff, so I want to have good, clear video, and I want you to be able to hear me, and I don't want to be cutting out like we did last time. So it's all going to be at YouTube, and this will be easier for Javi too, because she won't have to grab the videos and bring them over to YouTube. They'll already be here. And it will be a private classroom. Nobody is going to be able to see this except the students. Period. The end. They're not going to see the class. It's always going to be a secret URL. So you'll have to come over here and get into the YouTube to see the class, and then we'll have a regular classroom like we always do, and it will be on Facebook. Modules will be stored there. You can look at them, you can print them out, we'll talk about them on the class. You can also ask questions you didn't get to ask during the videos. I'll show you more stuff. You guys can do your triages if you want to do them. We'll talk about that in a minute. Mine will be done on video, so that'll be nice for you guys. We could do your triages on Zoom, possibly, but I'd have to do a little bit of figuring so that we would be able to see it good enough, but there's probably a way. I'm not a stranger to Zoom, and neither is Javi, but some people don't like it, but we'll talk about that later. Maybe some want to do it, so maybe we'll do it for whoever wants to come. I don't know. We'll talk about it later. But we will have those 2 days of video, and then a little bit later on, a week or two, we will have a supplemental class of probably half a day. And that's going to be your video for this class. The rest of it, we'll do it the same way we always did, by discussions and me posting links and showing you pictures inside the class group. Okay? As you know, I don't own all this fabulous jewelry that we talk about. I have a nice little collection, and I have some nice things, but I don't have, like Cantil filigree and, neoclassic, cameos and chatelaines and stuff like that. So we need pictures for that. So there's going to be some recommended reading, like there always is. There's a good bit of reading with the class, but you're still going to have visuals now, which is going to be so nice for you. And I'm also going to use the books during class to show you during the video. I'll use the book. Since it's private, it's not a private group, I don't think I really have an issue with doing that, especially if I call out the author and tell you guys where you can buy the book if you want it. So I'm just going to show you some pictures out of books so you can get a good look at it. And then other than that, in the classroom group, I will give you links that you can go to see. Let's see, who else is here now? Stephanie, Moon Goddess Treasures, Gloria Allen, party can start now. Debbie N, Darcy's here. I keep thinking Mr. Darcy because I've been watching Pride and Prejudice over and over and over again. I don't know, I guess I'm weird. I just like that movie. Anyway, so let's see, Debbie Nicholas is here. So we've got a fine group starting here, and I'm so glad you're here. That's wonderful. Okay, so that's how it's going to go. 2 days of video, morning and afternoon. We won't start terribly early, probably like 10 o'clock. We'll probably go like 10 to 1, maybe 10 to 12:30, and then come back after maybe an hour and 15 minutes or something. So you have time to go get a sandwich or something, and then come back. And we do maybe another, 2.5, 3 hours. And I think if we move along nicely, in 2 days we can get most of it. And the rest we'll do in a classroom group. So hopefully you can understand, how I'm going to do it. You're going to come to YouTube for the videos. You'll be in the Facebook group for the rest of it, for the modules and everything else that we do. And I think it's going to be a great class. I really do. I'm excited about it, because this is the way that this class should really be, is visual. For those who maybe don't know, I think most of the ones I've seen here have taken the class before, but for those who don't know what I mean by responsible repurposing, as you know, everybody wants to upcycle stuff, they want to recycle stuff, they want to repurpose stuff, and there is nothing wrong with that, If it's broken and you can't do anything else with it, my goodness, yes, use it. Use it in some practical, good way. That helps you to make jewelry. Nothing wrong with that. But I have an issue, and it's something that, I really feel in my heart strongly about. And it's that people need to know what they have before they just randomly start going and getting bags of stuff, or buying pieces of jewelry, or getting into grandma's jewelry box, or whatever it is, and just start busting it up. Because some pieces are worth a lot of money. And that money is a secondary income stream for you that you're throwing out the window if you don't know what you have. Because as an artist, we all need more money. I've started this class when I've done it before. Who needs more money? You know, I did it live one time. And who needs more money? All hands were in the air. Everybody needs more money. Well, this is a way to get it. If you find vintage jewelry, if you find things that are, you know, have a little bit of value, take a picture and put them on Etsy. Or just put them on your Facebook page and say, who wants it? Have a de-stash sale, whatever you want to do. You know, have one of these haul sales that they have. You see them on YouTube all the time. But sell it because people want that stuff and they will pay. Sometimes they will pay for the most ordinary stuff. You know, stuff that back in my days when I was dealing actively in vintage jewelry, nobody would have given me 50 cents for. And now they may give you $10. And hey, that adds up, doesn't it? Of course it does. So this is going to be very, very good thing for those who are not familiar or haven't thought about the idea of a secondary income stream. And I'll tell you how I know is because I did it. Everything that I had to start the business I'm in now, well, actually everything I had to start the craft business, my line that I had first, came from picking vintage jewelry. And I was good at it. I had a very thriving business. To be honest with you, sometimes I think, why did you quit? Because I did very well with it. But things got harder, you know, to locate here. It used to be a very, very fertile place to find good antique jewelry, and it's not so much anymore. So, yeah, maybe it's better that I moved on. But anyway, that's what happened. I got into selling antique jewelry, and I made money so that I could make my line, make myself a little workshop, hire people to help me, have stock, you know, in inventory instead of like, oh no, I'm out of it, I'll get it, and then lose a sale because of it, you know, like we've talked about in the bulk class before, not having the stuff on hand, you lose sales. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a really, really good thing to know about. You're not going to learn in this class everything there is to know about vintage jewelry. There's no way. It took me years. It takes everybody years. It's a process, okay? What you're going to learn in here is you're going to learn basic things that are going to help you know what to do to look it up and establish fair price for it, or know whether you ought to tear it up or not. And it's going to prove to be very, very valuable to you to know these things. I've had students in this class before that actually went off to pick antique jewelry, and they don't make stuff that much anymore, but that's what it touched their heart. You know, they wanted to do that, and they had things that they could get where they live, so good for them. I've had students who really have built their businesses up because they learned how to pick jewelry, and instead of break it up, do something with it. For example, you know how you go to the flea market and you buy those bags of junk sometimes? I mean, who can resist them? I can't. They're cheap enough. And a lot of times people go in there and they say, oh, yeah, I can make a necklace out of this. And oh, I can make a bracelet out of this. And I could do this. Oh, this would be good on a ring. And they just start cutting it up. Stop. Look and see what you have. Take a little bit of time to learn about it. You know what you might find in those bags? Because I have many times. It's very easy to find cultured pearls in those bags. I have a whole drawer full of them, and they came out of bags like that. And it's very easy to tell if you have cultured pearl. If you don't mind, wash it off, then rub it against your tooth. If it feels gritty, it's a pearl. It's either a good pearl or at least a cultured pearl. So you don't just, you say that for a really good project, that kind of thing, if you're going to break it up. There's sometimes karat gold in it. I found a lot of karat gold earrings and rings in those bags. And a lot of times sterling, charms, things like that. Sometimes there's really old Victorian jewelry down in there, and it's broken, but you can fix it and put it right so that it can be sold for good money. Lockets. And there's a lot of trash too. I'm not going to lie. But, approach each bag as though there might be hidden treasure in there. So, Yeah, Pauline, that's the class that does that. You learn the tippy top of the iceberg. I'm your guide. I'm not going to be able to teach you everything about every period and all that stuff. And, you know, I mean, that's why, for example, every year there's a new or every 2 years there's a new Warman's Antiques Guide. Is because there's more to the story to tell. Mrs. Bell, who writes the identification books, which I recommend highly, she always has another book in 2 years. Why? Because there's more. And she is an expert. And so are the people at Warman's. I'm not an expert. I am what I would call very knowledgeable. I can still, to an extent, do some appraising, but not like they can. You know, it depends. So this is where you're going to learn to be a jewelry detective. You're going to learn where the flags go up, where you say, you know, I'm just going to set this aside until I can figure out what I have. When the antique dealers have gone through the jewelry already? No, not if it's some flea market guy who picked up a big flat of jewelry at the auction and he just took out the shiny pieces and threw everything else in a bag, not knowing it was worth something. He wouldn't know to check the pearls to see if they're, you know, real or not. Antique dealers, you know, they buy that stuff too, but normally they'll buy. Antique dealers, a lot of times, they like to buy from certain pickers that they're used to and they trust, like what I used to do. I had a really nice clientele for that. Or they like to go to antique stores that they know the guy or the lady that owns it and see what they have and see if they can work with them to get a deal. Or even somebody in an indoor flea market, some of those ladies used to save things for me. They would go to an auction and get a big bunch of junk, and they would just take out what looked good to them, and then I would get the rest, and there was always a whole lot more that was still good in there because, being honest, they didn't know what I knew about it. So no, don't think it's all picked out. I mean, some of those bags are garbage. There's nothing in there, but some of them are pretty good. The last good bag I bought was when I was in Marietta with my friend Kate, because I don't get to go out junking a lot. And she took me some flea markets she likes. And there was a lady there that was selling discontinued or whatever Coldwater Creek jewelry. She had gobs of it. Some of it was quite nice. And then she had these big bags for $20 you could buy. And I said, well, Kate, don't you want to buy this? And I want to take this her flea market. She goes, no, you get it this time. I can't tell you how much money I made out of that bag. Because there wasn't just Coldwater Creek in it. I found a nice Weiss necklace in there. You know, I found some really good chain. There were pieces I could repurpose. There were pieces I could sell as is. I made so much money out of that bag. So, you know, look for those bags and don't be too shy to buy them. You know, if you feel a little bit like iffy about it, don't spend a lot. You know, don't, you know, try to get them for $5-10. So then if they're no good, then you're not out much. But normally, I haven't found too many bags, and I didn't find something I couldn't at least double my money back on, you know. So look for those, and then don't dispatch them too quick. You know, the same way with an auction box lot. And we're going to have we'll have a section on the class about buying auction box lots. And is it a good idea or isn't it? You know, well, it depends. And I've told you a few of the tricks already that apply to the bags. But what I've done is I've gone downstairs into some of my drawers where I keep a lot of old stuff. And I've picked out some stuff. And we're going to pretend that I just went to the auction. And I'm going to show you what's in my box. Are you ready? So, anyway. Yeah, Maria likes to junk around. She gets a lot of stuff. So I'm going to just throw some of this stuff out here. And some of it you guys will know what it is maybe, and some of it you won't. But I'm going to tell you. We're going to kind of go through this and see what I have. And you'll be surprised it doesn't take that long. I can usually triage a box of jewelry in 15 minutes or less. But that's me. Now I'm explaining it to you, so I need a little longer, but it's okay. Just she says, wow, when are you going to when are you going to stop pulling stuff out of there, Brenda? Look at all this stuff. Yeah, no. But I'm going to just tell you why some is okay to do, have your way with, and why some of it isn't. Okay. So, let's see if we can get through all this. What do you think? Okay, the first thing I picked up here at the lake, I forgot I had this locket. I love this locket. It says Jane, like Jane Eyre. Jane, Jane. Remember that movie? If you don't, you'll think I'm nuts. But anyway, I love this. This is Jane, and it's got such an odd shape to it. I don't see, well, there's a mark there, but that's not a carat mark. This is brass. The frame inside is brass. So I would say from the look of it and the glow of it, it's probably gold filled. And the only thing I can see wrong with it at all is it's got a little ding here. It needs polished up and cleaned a little bit, but I love this thing. So for me, this would probably not be something I would sell because it's personalized, and sometimes it's hard to sell something personalized. But I would be delighted to keep this and make something for me because I don't care if it has somebody else's name on it. It doesn't mean anything to me. So anyway, so I'm going to set that aside. That's what I know about that. And then you guys will know what this is. This is Dresden enamel. Some people call it guilloche. Now, as I've explained before, this is really not guilloche. Okay? What the guilloche part of it is if you see these little swirly marks, kind of almost look like the marks on the back of 1928 pieces. That is on a steel blank that's dapped up. And the guilloche is, a form of a pattern. That's what that is called. That is the guilloche. Then what they do is they hand paint the rose over it. Well, first what they do is they put the color down, fire it, hand paint the rose over it, fire it, and then they put clear enamel over it, and they fire that too. So they're really, really special. They've been popular in vintage jewelry from, I would say, going back to the 20s. Most of what you see is from the 50s, 60s. But there's stuff that goes way back too. And a lot of it was made in the United States. Up until the 70s, there were companies in Rhode Island that still made it. So it's beautiful stuff. And this is a cute pin. It's probably 50s. This one, I would say, it's your call because it doesn't have a huge value. So you could do what you want. But I'm sure that if you put this out somewhere for sale for $10, you probably would get it. And if you got it in a box of junk for, $10, I mean, hey, you got the whole box back right there, so that'd be up to you. Here's another cool thing. It's a great big molded plastic cameo. It's got a lot of relief. It looks pretty good. It's in a nickel-plated frame, and it's broken. This is not a valuable piece of jewelry. If it was even broken, it might be worth something. But it's not. So this one I would say, wow, wouldn't that look good on a cuff? Because you could do it, and I don't think you have to worry about value, that you've trashed something you can make money on, I mean, I don't know, if you put this on your site somewhere and said, I want $5 for it, you might get it. But you might do better with a piece like this if you made something out of it. That's what I wanted to say. This little piece is cute. It's on porcelain, and I think these are the tender moments, kids. I don't know, what's this say here? It says a license in Esco Imports. I think that's the company that made it. I would set this aside and put a little bit more research to it, because Precious Moments collectors would probably buy that from you. They probably wouldn't pay a lot, maybe $10, $15, but I don't think you want to take Precious Moments collectibles and make them into jewelry at this time, because they're only going to be worth more. So anyway, that's on that one. This is a great big old earring, and that's pretty cute too. It's all crystal AB. There's a Rivoli stone in the middle, I think. Yeah, it is. And it's an earring, pierced earring, and I'll tell you what I think this is. We used to have a chain of stores around here called The Icing. I don't know if you had them over by you or not, but they were in malls, and they had all this crazy over-the-top boutique-type jewelry. They were back in the 80s, early 90s, so you can just picture what was in there. A lot of stuff like this. And my guess is that this might have come from the icing. It's not marked and it's not on a card, so we'll never know. But it's not made like expensive jewelry, but it's not made cheap either. So it's probably import, but I bet this is from the icing to begin with. There's another pair in here that way too. Okay, so now what do I got? Oh, let's see. Let's look at this. Watch me. I'm just balling it all up. Okay. Can you see what I'm pulling out of here? What do you guys think this is? What kind of material would you say this is on this necklace? It's got a really nice beaded clasp, which is a nice fit factor. I see a mark. It says Japan. So this is 50s, early 60s. This is Moonglow Lucite. And the tan color, golden tan color, might not do as well for you as if it was maybe, pink or something. And there are no matching earrings, but I would not break this up. That's me. I mean, you could, but Moonglow Lucite is just going up. So even though it's not a set and there's no earrings or anything, this is pretty cool. I would leave this alone. If you went to sell it and put it on your Etsy now, I would say $20, $25. You can always come down if it doesn't go for that. But I would not break it up. That's me. That's my opinion about that. And then what I got here, I've had this for a long time. I bought this from another dealer. It's on a nice, fairly decent chain, but there's no marks on it. What would you say this material is? Well, yeah, it's a rose. It's a rose pendant. It's Bakelite. It's very nicely carved Bakelite. Part of the reason I know is because of the grain marks this way. Also the feel of it, the clunk. And when I rub my finger across it, I get a formaldehyde smell on my finger. And that's telltale. But this is definitely Bakelite. This piece would not be worth a tremendous amount of money. But it's a pendant. So, I wouldn't be going and gluing this into something. But if you want to take this and use it as a pendant and put, pretty, vintage beads that you found or something with it, I would say go for it. Because that'll just make it worth more. And you could end up maybe selling it for $45, $50 if you beaded it nicely. So that's what I would do with a piece like this. So that's, in a way, it's repurposing, but then again, not, because it's a pendant. It's made for that. And, you could leave it on this chain, but this chain is kind of plain, and it wouldn't help to sell it at all. So you might want to bead something up for that. So, anyway, she has the same flower, the same color. Hers is a brooch. Yeah, they're out there. Now, if yours is a brooch, for it to be Bakelite and not having been repaired, there should be little prongs on the pin back that are inlaid down into the Bakelite material. And that will mean it's original and that it's really Bakelite. Okay? But if it's glued on there, somebody did that. They either repaired it or they just did it because they'd rather have it as a pin than a pendant. Okay? So now it's worth less. Anytime something is repaired that way, it's not worth as much. Sad but true. Okay, so now we have this piece. You guys have probably seen stuff like this filigree. Some people say it's celluloid when they see it. This is actually, I've done a lot of research on this and I'm trying to remember everything that I learned. It's in perfect condition. Some call it milk plastic or C-A-S-E-I-N, casein. Other people call it Galilith. It's in the family of Bakelite, but it's not Bakelite. It's very matte. It's done in a mold. Bakelite is not made like this. Bakelite, you can see, like for example, the difference. This carving is very harsh, very angular because the material, that's how you have to carve it. This is definitely molded. This would not be carved like that. So this is definitely molded. The value of the necklace, I would say, let's see, I think it's perfect. Yeah, it has a clasp, and the clasp is original. Nobody's replaced it with a lobster or anything. I would say $18 maybe. Not big money. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, but it's certainly not something to take apart. Although I suppose you could actually, because you wouldn't damage it just to take the links out. But I guess it's your call. But if you want to sell it as is, I would say 18 to 22 on that. Okay, let's see what else we got. This was cool too. These are just molded plastic beads, but they were made kind of cute with this nice, box clasp on it that matches. It's just plastic. But I happen to like early plastics of any kind. I love 50s plastic. I'm nuts about plastic. So the only thing this needs is this piece came off. So it just needs to be reconnected here. And then it's as it was. So you got a nice 3-strand, all these pretty molded rose beads. People like those, by the way. And it's a good color. This is a good color. So almost everybody looks good in this color. Almost everybody can wear it. It's just a really nice piece of like 50s plastic. And I would say once you get that fixed up on there at $25 to $28 maybe, I wouldn't take it apart. You could, but I wouldn't. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Oh, dress clips. Who knows about dress clips? This actually could have been a shoe clip because it's got these little, you see these little prongy things in here to hold it. But dress clips are really, really popular back in the 30s. And this is definitely Art Deco in style. Definitely 30s. The metal is pot metal. I know by looking at it and I know by smelling it. Pot metal has this metal smell. Sometimes if it's been stored wrong for a long time, it really stinks. But this isn't bad. And it's a nice shape. You could decide what to do with it because these are, even though it's that old and all that, they don't bring tons of money at this time. And people don't quite understand how to wear them. I do. I love them. But what you could do is you could take and flip this up and put a chain under it. And sell it like that as a pendant. And then people would understand what to do and you haven't damaged it at all. So that would be responsible repurposing. Okay, there's another one in here too, I think, like that I brought up. Well, there's this one. Now this one's going to require some work. This one's pretty. It's got the old topaz. It's got some nice scrolling on it. There's probably there's a patent number in here, so you could actually look that up if you wanted, but it's not backmarked with a name. But this one needs pretty much all new stones because the stones that are still in it have darkened, and so you would have to decide, is it worth it to you or not. But I don't know about repurposing it like that because it needs stones, so that one would be your call too. I found this cute cocktail ring. It's really huge though. This would be like 60s. It's really huge. Anyway, but it's a big size. I would say it's like a 9, 10 maybe. It's still loose on my index finger. I don't know about on my thumb. Yeah, I can even wear it on my thumb. I mean, it's big. So, but yeah, you could probably get 18, 20 bucks out of this. There's no marks on it. It's enameled metal casting. But the stones are all there. Those are really pretty. Oh, wait, no, I'm lying. There's one out here. But yeah, that's easily popped back in. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, have you ever heard them talk about thermoplastic? When we get to the section on Bakelite and stuff like that, we'll talk about the different types of plastics. This is thermoplastic. And it's not Bakelite, it's not lucite, although it kind of has the glow of moon glow lucite. I don't know, maybe I have to look at that again. But anyway, they call this thermoset. And whenever I find jewelry made like this, the first thing I do is start looking for marks. Because I've been looking for Coro or Lisner, because they made a whole lot of this stuff. So I'm looking and I don't see any marks. So there probably was a bracelet or a necklace that went with it, and maybe it is marked. But these are in pristine condition. They're excellent. I would sell these for about 15 bucks. And I would be happy to sell them because there's probably somebody out there that has that bracelet or has that necklace and would be delighted to have the earrings. So you'd be doing them a favor too and making money at the same time. Oh, here's that other pair of earrings. These are probably from the icing too. Given the card that's on, I would say these are probably from that boutique you guys see, but they're all machine cut stones. I would say they're probably Austrian crystal. The type, they probably used epoxy that was a two-part epoxy, and so it's kind of gone yellow and darkened, so I don't know. That might kind of be a blow to progress. I don't know if somebody would mind that or not. I know you couldn't get as much for it. And then, too, the foiling on some of the tips is kind of, worn a little bit. And foiling on stones is very, very important for condition. If you have a lot of wear in the foiling, people don't want to pay you very much. So, this would be your call as to whether or not you want to do something else with it, Talking about foiling, this is a really big Art Deco pin from the 30s. You can tell it's from the 30s because it doesn't have a C-clasp. It's got a safety, and it needs work done a little bit. It's a little bit stiff. But anyway, this is pot metal. This is not good metal. It's probably full of lead. And it's really just not even plated. It's just almost like raw pewter. It's very silvery though. But you can see there's foil damage on the back of here. See how there are little lines in it? It's just worn over the years. It's an old pen. If it's made in the 30s, it's probably 80 years old or 90. So yeah, so it would be your call. I don't know that I'd repurpose this. I might do it in a way that wouldn't damage the pen. But it's up to you because it does have issues, okay? And that foil damage makes it look kind of, it's still real sparkly, but it's not as bright as it could be. And these are fire polished stones, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, the tables might be cut, but anyway, it's not the great stuff. Okay, so what else do I have in here I can show you? This is kind of cool, but it's a choker. It's really tight. But it's made really well. This is a tight curved type chain. It's got a really nice box clasp to it, which usually that's a sign when it's made like this of being better jewelry. And also when you flip it over, you can see there's some kind of signature here. So I'm not sure what that is on there. I didn't look that up yet. But this is made in Western Germany. So this is a 50s, 60s piece, and it's made nice. It was probably decent department store jewelry. There were probably earrings to it or something, but they're not here now, and it's definitely a choker. So it might be a little hard to sell, but really, what are you going to do with this anyway? I don't know. Maybe you have a better imagination than I do. But I might say something like this until I had maybe 5, 10 pieces that were, they're not damaged or anything, but they're not as exciting as others might be, and sell them all as one lot and get something for them that way. That might be how I would do that. This necklace is from the 50s, maybe even late 40s. It's definitely retro style. When I picked this up, the first thing I looked for was a mark, of course, and I was looking for Marcel Boucher mark because they made jewelry that looked like this, among other people. And there isn't any mark, shucks. But it is made nicely. It's made nicely. The only thing I can say, the only fault I could find with it is this gold finish on it is a wash. It's not real plating. And I can tell because of the way it's holding up in the back and the color of it. It's still very good. The plating's not damaged, but it's not gold plated. This is a gold wash over pot metal. This would be pot metal under here. And this is a really nice snake chain. Or I guess it's more like a snake vertebrae chain. It's nice, and it's very much a choker. So I would try to sell this 18 to 22, and you can always come down if you want. Let's see, do we have any sleeper pieces in here? Well, this is Bakelite. This is a more modern Bakelite. Oh, something's stuck here. Well, you know it. Well, anyway, I just looked it up the way it is. This is a more modern Bakelite, maybe what they call Marblette. It's got a little bit of diamante in the ends. There's maybe 1, 2 stones out. And then if you look at this, this is kind of like that satin finish, and it's got the like the scoring in it. This is called a Florentine finish, and when you see this, it's almost always 60s department store jewelry. But there are no marks on here, so I don't know who made it. But this is a little better than all that. I would say you could probably sell this if you put the stones back in, cleaned it up a little bit. You should be able to sell this for $25 or $30 because of the bakelite. There's a chunk of it in there. Okay, let's see. What else do we have that's real interesting here? Well, these beads are kind of weird. But these are, I believe beads are from either Africa or Indonesia. And they appear to be some kind of resin. And will be made by the people that live there. They're not amber, I don't think. Although there are some inclusions in them, but I just don't think it's amber. Our friend Carolyn Lawrence sent this to me one time. She said, "You're always sending goodie bags to other people. I just got back from this trip. Here's a goodie bag for you." So she sent me all kinds of cute stuff. She's from the Netherlands. And she had gone to Indonesia. But I don't know if these are Indonesian or African. There's some cool beads on here. And if you like them, you just take them off of there and go ahead and use them. Because that's what they're for. Okay. There's a few other pieces down in here. This one's Park Lane. This is a dark nickel plate. This is a 60s piece. You'll find a lot of owls out there. People are starting to wear them now. $15 maybe for it. Here's a pretty check buckle with some painted enamel on it. I love this. This is mine. And I would say $15 if you found a thing like that. Or if you can responsibly repurpose it without drilling it and stuff, make it into something. To do that, I would probably get 2 big jumps up here and then hang it, and then I would hang things from the back from the center bar. And it could be pretty spiffy when you're done with it. Now, these are pretty cool. So far, I haven't found any, big sleeper items in my so-called auction box left, but I totally am making my money back because I would have paid probably $20-25 for something like that. But these are cool. They don't have a mark on them. These are definitely 50s, mid-50s stuff. This is Karen Gay. I don't know if this is the original box they came in or not, but these are cool. I love these. These have some class to them. I love them. So they're that. I got a little bit of broken 1928 jewelry down here, a little bit more Art Deco jewelry. I got a little frog. People used to never give you anything for these frogs, but they will now. A lot of people collect frogs, and it's pink, so $10 maybe you get from it. This is a piece of 1928 that's broken, but it's broken in just the right way where you could make something out of it, and you could get some good money for that. There's just little bibs and bobs here that are not of much consequence, but I would say this one is Art Deco. If you could find the baguette that goes to it, I would say sell it. This one, do what you want because it's just hard plastic. There's no signature on it at all. And no earrings to go with it or anything to identify. So, you decide what to do and have fun. There's some Chanel's here. I would definitely take these and use them to make these would be nice spacers in an earring, This is a piece of 1928 that's pretty damaged, and even the hanging holes are broken off. So it's got some plating damage back here. The stones are pretty and bright. They're probably Swarovski too, because this is a more expensive piece. But it's really goofed up, so, I would say have your way with it and be glad if you can restore it in some way to use it. Here's another dress clip I would do with this, exactly what I recommended with the other. So these are kind of cool. I've never seen anything like this before. These are pot metal, but the bottom of them, it swivels. So you can have your white moonstone, this glass moonstone. It's not real moonstone. Or you can have a blue one if you turn it. Kind of cool.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah,
that's kind of cool. Kind of remind me a lot of those egg pieces, those egg findings that we get from 1928 where we can put around stones and that. Yeah, they have pretty pattern to them too. I would say for these, you sell them, because they're unusual, $20-25 if you take the right kind of pictures, with them. So there's just odds and ends here left, but this is a sleeper piece in here. Okay, this is a sleeper piece. Now, I didn't get it in this box. I just put it in this box to keep it safe. But what this is this is a World War II V for Victory pin. And it's got the big V. And then this is supposed to mimic, I think, Morse code or something. That's what I was told. But anyway, I got this in a big box of jewelry a lady brought into the shop. I was actually able, when I had my shop, people brought things in for me to buy, and I was able to buy a good many nice things in there, you know, and they were happy for whatever they could get from it. It's got kind of like a gold finish, rose gold almost finish on it. It needs polished up a little bit. It's got a little bit of wear at the side here, but I mean, it's pretty decent shape. The safety clasp is good. The hardware is good on it. But then, when I turned it over, I thought, this is so stylish. It's got to be something. So I looked, and it's going to be very difficult to show you right here. We'd almost need a loop, but there's a mark right here. And we'll see if I'm calling it right. Phrygian cap mark. That is old Marcel Boucher. Some of the old Marcel Boucher pieces bring over $1,000. I don't think this is one of them. I really haven't been able to find it. If any of you find it, let me know. I've looked on Etsy, I've looked on eBay, I've looked in all the galleries and stuff that people make, and I've never seen this piece again. So I don't know if it was rare or not. I kind of think not, because they made an awful lot of this kind of jewelry. Some people collect V for Victory jewelry. So it's this piece would be what you call a double collectible, because you could sell it to V for Victory jewelry collectors, or you could sell it to Marcel Boucher collectors. So without really knowing the true value of it, I'd just take a stab and a guess. I wouldn't want to sell it for less than $150. But it may be worth more than that, and that's why, you know, I kept it in this box so I wouldn't lose it, till I could figure out, you know, exactly which one it was I had. But yeah, there's some really big Marcel Boucher figures that bring a lot of money. There's one that's a grasshopper. It's a big pot metal grasshopper, and I think it goes for about $1,500 if you can find it, even more. Same thing with certain pieces of bakelite can go for frightful money, you know. So, you know, people say, oh, anything's worth money is, you know, really good jewelry that, you know, it comes from the jewelry store. Not necessarily. Sometimes the costume is worth a good deal of money. And if I didn't add this up as I went along, I really should have had a tally here. But add it up as I go along to find out what I had here. I mean, I think I would have had a pretty good payday. There'll be some work to getting it photographed and getting it uploaded to Etsy, or maybe you just do a D-stash sell on YouTube like some of them do. One of those haul, H-A-U-L, haul sales. And maybe, you know, you'd be okay. You might, I mean, I've watched some of those and seen, I'm like, I can't believe what the girls are getting for this stuff, and it's not very exciting, you know. They're not getting huge money, but they're getting, you know, $8, $10, $12, $15 for these very ordinary pieces. You know, hey, spend an hour and sell enough of them, it's worth your time. And you didn't even have to photograph it. You just showed up and showed it, you know, and sold it to them. So, you know, that's something to consider as well. So, anyway, let's see. I haven't been watching what people have been saying because I've been so busy talking to you guys. Well, there aren't a lot of comments here. I don't know if it's because I bored you to death or because you're listening. Maybe it's both. Is being machine cut good? It means machine cut stones are higher quality, yes. And a lot of times they might be Czech Preciosa, just different brands of Austrian crystal, or they could be Swarovski. And people who are Swarovski expert can tell by looking at it if it's Swarovski or not. Me, I kind of have to take a guess because, you know, they're not signed or anything, but Swarovski have certain facets to them, and they're very, very sparkly. But so are Czech Preciosa, and so are other Austrian crystals. So, but yeah, it does mean they're better, and they're going to cost you more too. And something that has machine cut crystal in it usually brings more money when you sell it as well. Fur clip. A fur clip, I don't have one here, Lori. A fur clip, though, is when it has little, you know, springy thing on the back, but it's like two big prongs coming out of there. Because you had to have something pretty sturdy to go through a fur, you know. So these are dress clips. And you might be able to clip it onto a fur, but you wouldn't like be able to put it on the jacket and have it, you know, go through like a brooch has a pin stem. Fur clips, you use the prongs. So anyway, inherited grandmother's breast clips. Well, that's a nice thing. Maybe you can put them on chains and wear them. That would be good. Well, I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it. If anybody has any questions, be sure to tell me. I'm going to put the class up for sale probably last week of December and start getting it paid for. The class is going to be $80, which I think is well worth it because you're going to get about 3 weeks of classroom time plus the 2 weeks of video that I have to be present for all day. And then I'll be popping into the class every day to guide that class. You can get the modules, which I have to rewrite all of them and get them over there. And then, you know, we'll have discussion and do triage in the class. And the triage is a lot like what I did with this box, except we make certain piles. For this is the good stuff you have to experiment and you need to study up and find out what in the world this is before you do anything. Then you have the stuff that's like, well, you know, this is a little too nice to, you know, break up, but it may not be that special either. And then you have another pile which is like give it to somebody or break it up and have your way with it, you know. And that way you get kind of a clear view of what you have that way. So, oh, thank you, Mary. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope people will enjoy the class because it's going to be different than my other videos, you know, where, you know, I'm showing you stuff constantly. It's going to be a lot of lecture, but I'm going to try to keep it moving. I'm going to try to keep it really interesting. Some of the things that we're going to talk about are going to be how the class works. There's a certain protocol to it. A buying auction, recommended reading. There's a nice glossary of vintage terms that we'll talk about. The fine art of circa dating. This is very special. Circa dating. If you learn how to circa date your jewelry, you're on a path to know exactly what you have and to selling it and finding the value. Circa dating. Circa is a Latin word which means about, so it'd be like it's about this age. Like, oh, this is probably Civil War, or this is made somewhere between 1870 and 1880. Oh, this is from the time of the Titanic. This is Edwardian. You know, that kind of, it's like, doesn't tell you exactly, but it's kind of iffy. It gives you kind of a place to go from. We're going to talk about the mystery of metals, and that is 2-part, so that you'll get to know some of the metals that were commonly used in costume jewelry. And it's very interesting. There are a lot of metals you might not have thought of. And also when you can identify metals, it helps you to circa date as well. So it's a good thing. How to establish value and desirability in unsigned vintage pieces. That's something that everybody wants to know because it's pretty easy to find out if it's signed, but if it's not, you have to know a little bit more about jewelry. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to learn the basic stuff about vintage plastics, the concept of triage, the responsible use of vintage jewelry that is broken and damaged. And I will just mention to you real quick, some jewelry that is damaged is still worth good money. One of our pals from the creative group messaged me last night and was talking to me about a Miriam Haskell lariat necklace that she found. And she just got that second feeling about it, like, wait, you know, this is something I don't want to just do something. But it turned out it was from the period when Frank Hess was the head designer there. Those pieces are worth a lot of money. They're not sold, but if you sell them to the right dealer, they know what they are and that. And you can usually haggle price a little bit. That piece was valuable. She got $250 for it. It was worth a whole lot more than that. That dealer stole it from her, but she was happy because she didn't pay hardly anything for it. So it was $250 she went ahead. She could have held out forever to get $1,000 or whatever for it. But do we really want to do that? That's up to you. When you're pricing stuff, I price stuff to sell. Even the stuff I sell on my website, it's priced to sell. You know, I don't go for the throat on some of this stuff because there's just no need of it. I want to move it on down the line. I want somebody else to have the benefit of it. And same with jewelry. If you're going to sell jewelry, you're going to pick jewelry, you're going to sell it. You need to sell it at a price that a dealer will pay. Unless it's something extremely rare. Like, for example, you found the Marcel Boucher grasshopper brooch. Oh, baby, put it on eBay and let it ride. And you might be surprised how much you get for it, way more than you might think. I've sold some Bakelite that way and blew me away, and I tend to think that would still be the case. So in a case like that, you get something really rare, no, you don't worry about a dealer. You just go ahead and put it on, and you'll get it. But if it's not, then it has to be desirable and something that a dealer would want to buy. And so you can't go for the throat on price. You got to be practical, or you won't sell it. Just like anything else, just like the stuff you make, the same way. We're going to talk a little bit about vintage buttons, just a little bit. And then we're going to talk about your making a collection. If you wanted to make a collection, what would you collect? So there are a bunch of things there. We'll also talk about vintage findings and fitments, and there's a difference between a finding and a fitment, and I will be able to show you. Fitments are usually made by a jeweler just for that piece. A finding is something that, like I have on my website, that's commercially made. So, anyway, hey Renee, it's good to see you. Oh, you're going to take the class? That would be great. I'd love to have you in class. That's great. Well, listen, this was great to see all you guys. Please go over the times, dates of the classes. It's $80. Yes, I'm going to start taking the payments. In December, what do you want?
The dates.
The dates. Okay. You know what? Let me look at the calendar really quickly.
Dates and times of the classes, they said.
Okay. The times. That we're gonna jiggle yet. I don't have that quite. Probably start at 10 and go to around 1. Take an hour break or so to get a sandwich, whatever, and then come back for maybe another 3 hours. So probably it's going to be between 5.5 hours, 6 hours a day, 2 days. And then let me just look back on here, and I'll be able to tell you exactly.
It's 2 days?
I should have had it down.
2 days?
22, 23.
22 and the 23rd.
Yeah, January 22nd and 23rd. And the class itself will be in a Facebook classroom, but the videos will be on YouTube. So what you'll do on the day of the class, you will come straight to YouTube. If I tell you the class starts at 10 o'clock, you'll come straight to YouTube.
Well, we'll have the link for you guys in Facebook that you have to click on because this will be private.
Oh, that's right. You won't be able to find it on your own. Yeah, she just reminded me of that. So there'll be a class. There'll be a link in the Facebook group. So if you want to go there and get that first, that's probably a good idea because I can't put it anywhere else. So yeah, thank you, Javi, for that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get this all thought out. Yeah, you'll have to go to the Facebook group first and find the link. And then you just click on that and go there. And I don't know if it'll be the same link for morning and afternoon. It might be different links. But we'll
figure it out.
We'll have it there. You guys will know well ahead of time. Because what I do is when I have these classes, I usually clean up the classroom that we used before on Facebook. And then I start putting, as people pay, I go ahead and put them in the class. They're in the class so that if you watch the class, maybe I'll pop in and show you something or ahead of time or talk to you about how we're going to do stuff. But at least you're there way ahead of time and you don't have to worry about the last minute, Although if you're not sure you can do it, you need to wait till the last minute to hop on, you can do that too. I will take people until the day of, It's not a problem because there's nothing extra I have to do. I can have as many people as will take the class in there. I hope I get at least 40 because I kind of need that for the amount of time that I have to spend to get it together and all that and to take with the class because after the videos there's going to be like 3 weeks of regular class just like the way we used to do it. And then there'll be a bonus video that will be on. And I don't know if we can get some that want to do a Zoom triage session. I'm not opposed to it. I just have to figure it out, But I wouldn't mind it. I would be fine with it. So we'll just have to find out. We'll talk about it in our class. Okay? So anyway.
Hi, Joan.
Oh, hey, Joan. It's good to see you. Oh, she says hi. Hi, Javi. Crazy.
Oh, hi.
Crazy table buddy. Yeah, Joan sat with Javi one year at the workshop. That was fun.
It was.
We had so much fun. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for coming. You've been great. Love you so much. I hope you'll be able to take the class. I don't think any of you will regret it. I really don't. I enjoy teaching it. It's my heart. It's where I started. So anyway, thanks a bunch, and